can't say. What the hell? I gave you that mask for a reason, so that you wouldn't talk as much this episode. So,
I mean, I could still talk with this on.
There's no point in you having it on then, I guess.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to episode 2 of We're Podcasting here. Today, as you can see, we're at the skate park, and it's a nice day. We wanted to be outside, and I wanted to talk a little bit more, but apparently that can't even happen because I got the wrong mask. So you might as well. There's no point in you even having that on. You look ridiculous.
Well, everybody's already seen me in this form, so might as well just keep it going. Maybe explain why I have this on.
Why you have it on? Well, because if you guys tuned into last episode, the ratio, we timed it, the ratio of Garrett speaking to me speaking was about 4-2.
I feel like
Is that a good ratio?
I feel like the Eddie Murphy dude from Nelly and the Saint Lunatics. Or wait, no, not Eddie Murphy.
Hannibal Lecter?
No, not Hannibal Lecter. Murphy Lee. I think Murphy Lee used to wear one of these. Anyways,
We were going for
this
Hannibal
is
Lecter.
This is so stupid, dude. Let's take this off. This is so dumb.
It was pretty funny.
The idea was there.
It was. The other mask didn't come in time, and I had to go and buy this from a costume shop.
Can you hand me my hat, please?
You want your hat on? Your hair looks good.
My hat looks better.
All right, fair. Get these out of the way.
Okay, well that was that was dumb.
I mean, I think it'll be funny.
All right, well we'll find out.
We'll find out from you guys. So yeah, we're here at the skate park, episode 2. We're podcasting here. The first one was a hit, man. We got like the president of the world telling us that we did a phenomenal job. New York Times reviewed us, and Rolling Stone were like, these guys have it, you know. And
I was really surprised on the support, that
yeah, we did get support.
I wasn't surprised that we were going to get support because I know that whatever we do is obviously good.
Right.
But it's just like actually, when it actually happens, people sharing and commenting and showing love, and it's really cool to be on that side of things because people are supporting us directly and not something that we're doing for somebody else.
Right.
And
it always feels nice.
that's why we're doing the show.
Yeah, and we're doing something a little different today. For the first time ever of any podcast ever, we have
Talk about it.
a 360 feature. We have a 360 camera filming on top of our current camera, and we are including a second, well, not a second channel, but a playlist, second playlist. You don't want to go around to a bunch of different channels. We have a second playlist where you can watch us in 360. So if you have a VR headset, or you're just on your phone,
if
and
your
you want to
phone
look around,
moves.
your phone, Garrett's phone doesn't move, but yours should, if you have the most up-to-date settings. You can turn your phone, and if you're watching that now, you can turn your phone and you can
see what's
everything.
around us.
can
There's
see
a
we're
guy
at the park.
with a red shirt on. You could see him.
Yeah, he's working out right now. You can see
the trees,
and the bird.
we just want to bring. I'm sorry.
We want to immerse you into the environment with us, so that you can see, hey, we are in public locations, and if you get bored of looking at us, you can look around and just look at the birds.
Speaking of looking at us, we have some new equipment.
We do have some new equipment. A lot of new today. One episode in, and we are just new.
Because of the amount of support that we got from the first episode, the amount of money that we made on the first episode.
It was wild.
We made so much money off of that first episode. One, we didn't even know, we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But then when we did figure out what to do with it, we went and bought some brand new mics.
Yep.
Top of the line mics. We're
didn't
not going
get
to say the name of the mic because they weren't part of the money that they didn't.
They weren't a sponsor.
But it's just kind of like, how do we how do we take what we're doing to the next level? How do
Yeah.
we make things better? How do we just be, better than everybody? I
Better
mean,
than average. Consolidate too. We're consolidating gear.
right.
You know, probably noticed. And I want to shout out my homie Connor Jenkins for helping us figure out, this MIDI.
Was this Connor's idea?
To the mics, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was.
Well,
okay.
it was his suggestion.
Okay.
He was like, you should, these mics are great. You don't need to have the pop filter. They have a built-in pop
No,
filter.
they don't. They don't have anything. There's nothing that anybody needs to know about. All that people need to know
Yep.
is that they're the best top-of-the-line mics
Top of the line.
that we use.
The Weeknd used these mics.
Not these ones. He used the other one.
No, I think he used this one.
No, it wasn't, because my friend had sent me the other one
Uh,
and told me about that. And then you sent me this one.
but did the Weeknd use the other one?
Right.
The Weeknd used one of the mics.
Right.
I think he used these ones.
Um,
We'll say he used these. The
so-
only downside. I'll say
to
this,
these?
Yeah. Is that my beard hair gets caught in the mic and it pulls on it, so I gotta talk at a distance.
Yeah.
It's the one
The
downside. of
mic
it.
yanks on you a bit.
Yeah.
So let's jump straight into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
As we move along into the season,
Mhm.
we'll excuse me. As we move into the season, we'll have topics, and we'll actually have a conversation of some substance and value, and it's not just going to be so much of us talking about random things or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but there will be random things involved. But we also want people to walk away from the episode and have be smarter and almost as smart as us. So, what? So let's get into it.
Yeah.
So how are we related?
Well,
It's what started off as a joke
yeah,
actually
turned out to be partially true.
partially true.
Yeah. So Garrett hits me up. Was it Thursday night or Friday night? Thursday night. Thursday afternoon.
Probably.
With a message from an old family friend of his, stating that you guys probably saw the video we did of success. That was hilarious. If not, should we have Momo fetch that clip for them?
Yeah.
All right, let's just have Momo fetch that clip.
Thanks.
He's not feeling it. Yeah, he got neutered last week, so he still has 1 week to go. So I'll just put it up.
What's the mentality that you have to have in order to be successful at becoming successful?
Success actually comes from the Greek word suck and the Latin word excess. A Greek man and a Latina were dating, and they came up with this word together as a metaphor for their relationship.
So it was just a testament of their love for each other.
A love for each other, but also their love for Mother Earth. Their understanding as ancient Grecian and Latinas were that the earth has an abundance of resources for us. Fruits, veggies, fishes, animals. The earth has an abundance, Garrett. And when you understand that, a lot of people don't have that mentality. A lot of people think, oh, there's not enough. There's not enough for me.
Which isn't true.
The earth is excessive and it has all the resources for everyone.
Yeah, so
That was hilarious.
That was funny. But the thing I like about that video is you're directly explaining,
Yeah.
the origin of success, and you're talking
Right.
about not only where does this word come from, but the mentality that you have to have in order to become successful at
Yeah.
being successful. So,
So
so we
family
post
friends
this.
saw that.
Yeah, we post this video, and an old family friend saw it,
Mhm.
and it's kind of hard to explain to make it make sense. But basically, I grew up in the city of Orange and Irvine, but in Orange, where my dad lived, I had two friends. I knew their whole family, and years go by, right?
Yeah.
However many years. So from the time I know them when I'm like between 4 and 6, and fast forward, one of the friends that I grew up with, he ended up having a son.
Yeah.
And the woman that he had the son with
Yep.
just so happened to be your sister,
My sister.
right?
Well, not my so. And then I grew up in Tustin,
Well, okay, so let me backtrack for a second. Hold on. So these guys, this family that I grew up with, I was with them all the time. We would hang out, we would skate, we would play video games. Like it's just like the neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
But you know, being at my dad's house, they were like my brothers. You know, like we were close like that. And so one of the guys that I grew up with from a child, he ends up having a son around the same time I had my son. And the family, or the woman that he had the son with, is just so happens to be your sister in a way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, which I was gonna get into that.
Get into it.
You re-explained your I'll get into it. So I grew up in Tustin, and which we're at the skate park, which is relevant to what we're going to be talking about today, which is fate. I grew up in Tustin, and my family. So long story short, I was evicted when I was 15. Ended up moving in with my friend's family, and his sister, who became like my sister, was the mother of the child of Garrett's friend from childhood. So it was just a wild, it's like a Romeo and Juliet, like Capulet and Montague situation. Not directly, but indirectly.
Not directly.
Neither of us were Romeo or Juliet. But
right, but just the
opposite sides
the poetry in this story.
Yeah.
But the thing that's crazy, and it reminds me of the 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
How it's like, we're connected to, everybody is connected in one way or another type thing.
Right.
And the irony in us doing working together, doing a show, where that is applied, but also like really close to home, is just really strange, because I didn't meet you that way.
Right.
We were introduced by our friend Elijah.
Yeah.
And I know Elijah from being in Irvine, and so it's just kind of like there's absolutely no reason that we should be connected that way. Right. But that's just kind of how it happened. So
finding out that we were connected in two separate settings, people, groups, cities. Because I knew Elijah since I was for 20 years now, since I was in 5th grade. And then he knew you in Irvine, so you guys knew each other, but you knew each other separate from me. And then you knew the father of this child.
Bleep it out.
And you knew father of this child, and
just so happens to be
my nephew.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
But and then everything that we've gone through over the years has kind of aimed us to the direction of where we're at now. Not just with our individual work, but also with doing this show, right?
Right.
So I mean, it is.
As we've talked more too, we've realized we do come from similar backgrounds.
Right.
We have similar shared experiences, and the more
shared,
we get to know
trauma.
each other, shared trauma,
separately shared trauma.
Yeah.
Right.
And the more we get to know each other outside of the show, the more we realize that this show was always going to happen.
Right.
This show was inevitable, and if you're not watching it, you need to, because this show comes from the gods in the universe, or God,
That's
or
right.
whoever you subscribe to.
Right. No, for sure.
And,
but I think that's also in part of why our show has been received so well too, because a lot of the feedback that I've gotten is, these guys have a good rapport with each other.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because we understand, we kind of look at life through the same lens, right? So I had mentioned that growing up with these guys, skateboarding was obviously, growing up in the 90s, skateboarding was just, it was kind of like everything, and how popular it was. And so for me, one of the things I wanted to talk about in this episode was how did skateboarding culture and just everything impact us as kids to become creatives, or to, is there a direct correlation of what we go through or what we're into as when we're kids? Right. How does that transpire into our careers and building our identities and stuff? And so and so for me, skateboarding, it was the artwork on the skateboards. It was I was just infatuated with it. How did they create it? How did they come up with these ideas? You know, what was the process of creating the artwork? And me wanting to do that on my own, and develop my own style as an illustrator, and you know, all of that. But the origin, you know, aside from music and things like that, it was really with skateboarding. And then when Tony Hawk came out, it just changed my whole life. You know, like that was, even to this day, it's my favorite game. Pro Skater, yeah, the first one, where you can't manual, and it's really frustrating when you go back and play it now. But yeah, so because that game was so like revolutionary, and being at that age, you know, then that game comes out, and then, you know, you're like a sponge, and you're absorbing everything that's being presented to you, right? So
yeah, and I had the not so much in the art, but skateboarding has been a part of my life for like since my earliest memory, since I was like 5 years old. I remember walking into a Kmart and seeing this freaking not Cheeto. It was like a cheetah. It was a cheetah skateboard. I was like, oh, I want that, and ended up getting it or whatever. And then, you know, didn't ride on my feet. I rode on my knee, as one of those kids who like push on their knees and stuff.
And how old were you? Like 14, 15?
Well, that was 20. I was 5. 5 years old. And so fast forward a few years, I think I was in like 4th grade. Friends got me an X Games board for my birthday, and you know, I was riding around a little bit more on my feet, but I wanted to know how to ollie. So funny story about that. I wanted to know how to ollie, but my brain was like, oh, the grip tape is kind of like preventing me from that. It's sticking. Like I need to be able to slide my foot. So I ripped off all the grip tape and had this board for like years, chipped up in nose and tail. It was really a weapon at that point. But when I got into 7th grade, I started to actually I was able to actually like ollie and do tricks on it. So and I'll get into that a little bit later, but utilizing what you have when you have it, using what tools you have and what resources you have in the moment to succeed and to excel, and then when you upgrade, then you get to just use what you already know on that upgraded gear. So I got my first actual skateboard like late 7th grade, moved to Tustin, and kept skating. And this is where video comes in the picture too, because I had like a home video camera.
Did you watch a lot of skate videos as a kid?
Not in high school, I did.
Okay.
Because we still had like the disc internet, and we just had a bunch of free trials for internet. We didn't really have like internet. So 8th grade comes around. I'm using this home video camera to record myself doing kickflips off the curb and 2 stairs and stuff. It was pretty dope. I wish I still had that footage. I don't.
Yeah, that's crazy. So like you kind of looked at things through the kind of like the like, you know, with not having the grip tape, learning, you know, trying to figure it out on your own, to then having it, like you kind of went about things step by step, you know, process, maybe like unintentionally, right? Like you just, you figured, well, I'll start here and then I'll do this and then I'll move on to the next thing, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah, I didn't have like an end goal or any, like, it was just like, what do I have at my disposal, right? I had my mom's Filas. Not even skate shoes.
The thick ones?
Thick ass ones.
Like the moon?
Before that shit was cool.
Moon
I
boots?
had the thick ass Filas. Right. Which I was skating. I grew up poor, like just prefacing that, so people know. I think people forget that I like grew up with very little.
Speak for yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Garrett was rich, British.
British and Irish.
He comes from British royalty and Irish royalty. But yeah, so utilizing what you have, like when you have it.
Right.
And if you have, for you, it's like if you have a pen, like what are you gonna do with that pen? If you have a pencil, like what are you gonna do with that?
Right.
Like, you can make this fantastic piece of art. You can freaking kickflip a 20 stair with the worst board. Like, it's just how you go about it. Like, is your mentality, is your mentality just like, I'm gonna overcome and I'm gonna like excel, or is it like, man, I could be so much better if I had better stuff? Because that's not the case.
Yeah, it's
not
not. That applies to a lot of things, but it you know, like, that's a type of person, you know. It's like, are you a competitive person? What's the reason why you're doing the things that you're doing? You know, are you a follower? Are you a leader? You know, like that type of stuff. You know, and growing up during that time, you know, the internet wasn't a influence. It was like, all we had was whatever was on TV or magazines or, you know, whatever. And so we kind of like created in our mind like what we thought things were. So it's like, if as opposed to like, we're not watching tutorials or we're not watching videos of like how-tos. You know, right. So, you know, we play a video game, or we're going through a magazine, and we're like, okay, well, this is what we think, you know, it takes to do, you know, this. And depending on how much ambition you have, that's really going to determine, you know, how fast or how well you're able to succeed in like whatever that thing is. And skateboarding is it's not easy, you know. So there's so many things that there's so many things that you have to take into accountability. And it's like, you know, I've always saw that, or thought that, you know, skateboarders were you know, more on the fearless side of things, because regardless of how difficult it is, it's not going to stop them from learning this thing, right? So
it's definitely, it's self-competition. That's what I learned from skateboarding later on. Like, in the moment, you know, you can't get a trick after 40 tries. Like, you get frustrated, and you know, you deal with like your anger in a lot of ways, just taking it out on the board. Everything
is self, you know, competition. So
I mean, everything, but like I think we're taught that it's, you know, you against the world, like, but it's not. It's you against you.
Right. Like, well, because the world's not paying attention to you. You know, like, nobody cares. Nobody cares whether you fail or you don't, because they have their own problems, their own things to go on about. And it has to start with that self competition, and which then will turn into, eventually people will pay attention, and eventually you do become a person of interest. But it's like, you have to get to that point first, and all of that. So
and you have to which is also kind of related, like, it's kind of a flow. Like, there's a flow of life that like, you know, I didn't really choose. Like, I was just drawn to skateboard. Like, I didn't really like choose or think about it. I was just like, oh, like, that looks cool. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, there's something just innate in us that like gravitates towards, you know, the thing that like interests us, or that like ultimately like we go on to do. Like, for you, it was drawing, right? It was like you just kind of gravitated towards the paper. And
Yeah, sometimes there's no real rhyme or reason for it, you know. It's like, what is it about this thing that you're in? But, you know, it's not everybody has this. You know, like, there's a lot of people that never had their thing. They just kind of go on about the days and all that. So it's like, are you born with it? You know, is it a character thing where, you know, as you're getting older, you're developing this character, and there's these like certain things that speak more true to that? Are you able to recognize that? Can you come across something that speaks to you and recognize that that's something you need to give undivided attention? Or do you just let things kind of flow by you, and you just are, you know, coexisting with everything? You know, so it's really complicated to really think about and to try to explain and articulate where people could understand. But it's important, you know, because, you know, there's a lot of people that never found their thing, and then they bank on going to college to find it. And it, you know, like, there's this,
and some do find it.
Some do. But what about when you don't? You know, like, go to college for however long
years,
to find your thing, and then you don't, and then, you know, what's the reason for that? You know?
There's no right, like, there's no right answer, and that's what's hard to kind of to come to terms with, is there's no right answer that we can give you, at least.
Well, there's no right answer in terms of like the formula or the blueprint, but there's things that cause that, you know, when people can't find their calling, or they can't dedicate themselves, or, you know, whatever the reason is. And I think it's best for people to start there. You know, why are you not succeeding, or why are you living a lifestyle that you're not content with? Like, what are the reasons why that's happening? And I've found that, the one of the biggest downfalls that people have is distraction. They distract themselves away from the productivity of something that they would really be into or something, right? So it's like if you and a group of friends are skateboarding or something, and Saturday rolls around, everybody wants to go party and bullshit and all that, but you're like at home like, damn, I really want to get better at skating. Those are like the defining moments of who's going to succeed in what. Do you have distractions, and if you do you recognize that they are there and that they're throwing you off of your ultimate goal? And it's like self-awareness and all of that. What's so funny?
Self-awareness and all that.
Self-awareness and all that.
It's just get self-awareness, people.
And just be self-aware.
Stop.
Do it.
What is stopping you? Just do it. It's probably not here. And access to like therapy and shit.
Cut that out.
But yeah, man, it's a fascinating life.
For sure. So speaking on the 6 degrees of separation, and my favorite game being Tony Hawk. I did a single cover for a song for a recording artist who, I don't even know if I should mention his name or not. Doesn't matter.
You said last episode that you would name names.
So I did a single cover for Machine Gun Kelly.
Don't mention his name.
And the single ended up being on the soundtrack to the new Tony Hawk game. And to me, that was cooler than doing the cover art for that. Just like being like involved through that degree of separation.
Right.
Like something I did is on Tony Hawk. I work. Huh?
It's essentially like Tony Hawk.
That's basically, yeah, for sure. Like, I could easily, if Tony Hawk was out and about doing something, maybe skateboarding or something, I could go up to him and say, hey, so your game, I did a cover art for, the art's not in the game. That's not the point. But the point is that, I was involved with something that was involved with something. And that thing that it was involved in was something that is like one of my favorite things in life.
Right.
And I with my work that happens, a lot. Like this is one of the things I wanted to talk about too, is like, a lot of people turn down opportunities. A lot of people don't show up to something or, whatever, and you never know what is going to come from that, and you never know what opportunities can come from it. You never know where it's going to end up. So with you, with filming, is there a similar, like work ethic that you have to, not work ethic, what's the word I'm looking for? But like when people have you do videos for them, right?
Yeah.
Is it like we want you to write the treatment and you shoot it the way you want? Or is it like, hey, you have a camera and you can push buttons?
Usually always that.
Okay,
that one.
got it.
Yeah. I've primarily been, I think the 360 camera died, unfortunately. I don't know why. It's plugged in. It just shut off. We'll get into all that. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. This is episode 2. We're podcasting here.
Be sure to like and subscribe. And share. Hit that little bell.
Ring that little bell. Go ahead and ring that bell for us. We'd really appreciate it if you did. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Soon.
Or next week.
Soon.
Keep an eye out.